For those of you who don't know, Franz Harari is on the side of the LA highway in the bike lane, just
I am.
barely surviving.
No, I am in the parking lot
Okay.
of the Trader Joe's in
Okay.
Marina Del Rey. I don't know if you can see the boats over here.
Beautiful.
Can you see that? So,
Yes, I
and
can.
I am in fact not blocking the aisle, so that's important. So this is my world right now. So
Smart man.
I'm happily in the parking lot of a grocery store.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to the Making Magic podcast. I'm your host, Shaun J, and this is all about inspiring interviews with the movers, the shakers, the visionaries, and the makers, the wizards behind the curtain that make the magic for you. Now my next guest, he's known for his mega magic show, and CNN has dubbed him a master of spectacle and a catalyst to creativity and imagination. The New York Times calls him a magic star, and the Associated Press said that he's quite simply the Edison of illusion design. His name is Franz Harari, and I had a heck of a lot more to say about him, but I think this next video will do him better justice. So check this out.
His shows are designed to shock and confuse with large-scale optical illusions that leave thousands of fans in awe. Meet Franz Harari. As a master of spectacle, his craft has been likened to counterpart David Copperfield, but his work may have arguably been seen by more people. Creating illusions for concerts around the world, he's worked with throngs of A-list stars like Missy Elliott,
This is my man, Franz.
Michael Jackson, and Usher. Today, after almost 3 decades in the game, his illusions keep growing, keeping his multi-million-dollar productions and brand of magic constantly in demand.
It's magic time. Whatever you do magically needs to mean something to the audience. Even though I'm distorting reality to my viewer, it's very real. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God!
Good to see you, Franz. Welcome to
Hey.
Making Magic.
That's a great name, by the way. It really is.
Thank you, thank you. We got the best mega magic star. We got Franz Harari in
I got my own card.
the house, right there. Your
Look
card.
at that.
Boom.
That is something I will never be able to do right there, ever.
It's just, I'm an only child. I have a lot of time on my hands. I've spent my time in the right places, I guess, maybe. Who knows? But you've done many great other things, and that's what we're here to talk about. So,
Looking forward to it.
yeah. So I like to open the show by introducing the guest by having them tell a story. Now, since you're known for your creativity of large illusions for the stage and designing theme parks and things,
Right.
is there any story that you can recall about like the first thing that you ever invented or came up with or created? And good or bad.
Hundreds. That's a really good question. The first thing that I ever really created on my own, I did when I was 17 years old. And I remember that I was in school in high school, and it must have been biology or somewhere, but the teacher taught us that women have a part of their torsos that are basically only there by evolution for birth, for it's basically baby space. And it's
Okay.
not used except for this, the process of, giving life. And I thought, really, that's available space? How can I use that? So, in fact, I've never told anybody about this, so you get the exclusive here.
Exclusive first. You've heard it here, guys. You've heard it
Yeah.
here on Making Magic.
So I thought that there should be an opportunity there. So, of course, first thing is I got my girlfriend and I started squeezing her around trying to find that space. And I discovered that there is indeed space right underneath what the hell is it called? The ribs, the rib cage. So I came up, I developed, designed an illusion where 3 fluorescent light bulbs pass through a girl or pass through my girlfriend. But to do it meant that I had to squeeze my girlfriend really, really tight, like incredibly tight. And she was okay with it. And I mean, both of us were young and we didn't know any better. And the illusion worked pretty well. It was, I called it photonesis, but it was basically a fluorescent light tube, which, as you know, can't bend.
Sure.
Although people nowadays, you don't see that many anymore. It was passing 3 tubes through a girl's torso. And I probably did that illusion for 10 years, 12 years, for a while, until, I think one day I just woke up and I realized I can't keep doing this to women. This is wrong on so many levels. So,
and this is, we're talking about this right around International Women's Day, right?
We are, exactly.
Convenient,
now, keep in mind, all of the dancers in my show were all competing to see who gets to do what illusion. So it's not like I had to ask anyone to do it. There was a long line of girls who wanted to do this, but still I thought that, no, this is not what nature intended. So I stopped. There you go.
Wow.
First time ever. I've never told anybody that ever. So there you go.
That is really fascinating. So you were trying to create a performance piece based on a concept in biology.
Well, I started with the method, and over my course of my career, I sometimes I start with the method. Sometimes I'll start with the effect, or even just an image that I'm trying to get to. So it always, it depends. If I'm working for someone else, if I'm designing an illusion for another artist, for a show or concert, I always start with the effect. What is the final effect that we want to achieve? And then you back engineer to figure out how to get to it. When I'm doing it for myself, and I know it's just going to be, believe me, when I was 17, I never thought about this, but now, 30 years later, I realize when I'm doing it for myself, very often I'll start with the method, because the methodology, that to me is the exciting part, the clockwork underbelly to all of this. That's really where the magic happens. That's where the engineering is. Yes. And the biometrics and all the science is right there, and all of it is never seen by the audience, but that's the fun part, I think. Right.
It's like, you've heard jugglers and the acrobats, they work for years and years to show their skill, and magicians work for years and years to hide all of that. And so it's like this frustrating moment. It's like you're so excited, you probably want to say to people, man, if you thought that was cool, if we actually look under the hood, that would be more entertaining.
Right.
So, okay. And was there a particular reason why? What drove you to make that? Was it just purely out of exploring that concept, or
that particular illusion? Very early on, I knew that I wanted to do my own stuff. I had built a zigzag and a thin model sawing and a sub trunk, a bunch of stuff. I had built a bunch of what have become standards, but they weren't rewarding, because I felt like I was singing someone else's song. So really pretty early on, I realized that I not only wanted to do my own stuff, but I guess took on this belief, which I still believe, that if you're going to be an artist and you're going to be using magic to presumably communicate the human experience, your experience, then you need to be doing your own stuff. Otherwise you're a karaoke, you're painting by number. So all my life, I've worked to create new magic that's unique to myself, and that kind of shows and tells who I am and what I am, and it's being an artist instead of a craftsman.
Right, or an original rather than a cover band, right?
Right. And there's nothing wrong with being a cover band. You can make a lot of money. I have friends that are in cover bands, but I don't know if it is as rewarding as writing your own music. I don't know,
No, I agree completely. It's certainly not the easy road to take, but in the long run, it's very artistically satisfying, for sure. Soul satisfaction.
Unfortunately, it's also a lot more expensive. That's the bummer, because I mean, if I develop something, it's usually the fifth or sixth prototype before I get it to work,
Yep.
and all that development and all that failure costs a chunk of change.
Yep, it sure does, sure does. Oh, and by the way, are you safely somewhere? That, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Franz Harari is on the side of the LA highway in the bike lane, just barely surviving.
No, I am in the parking lot
Okay.
of the Trader Joe's
Okay.
in Marina Del Rey. I don't know if you can see the boats over here.
Beautiful.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
And I am in fact not blocking the aisle, so that's important. So this is my world right now. So
Smart man.
I'm happily in the parking lot of a grocery store.
Okay, good, because when, for those of you who don't know, we were planning on doing this with him at home, and then he had to do stuff, and he's like, LA traffic, and I just wanted to make sure you're okay, because LA traffic's insane, and
I was going to do it like this. I was going to do it while I'm driving. I thought I could totally do that. I was ready to bring it on,
That would be setting a great example for all the kids watching, for sure.
Yes.
Always Zoom call. I did a Zoom show earlier in the year in the pandemic when people were just getting used to all this, and I had one person, it was like you could see from their nose up and you could see the background moving, and I said, "Are you watching from your car while you're driving?" Yeah.
Right.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
I've been doing a show. It started out being called Quarantine Talk, and then after like 70 episodes, I flipped over to calling it Talking Magic, but it's basically it's a Facebook talk show with me and my friends. And when I started doing it, I'm still doing it with my friend John Pullum, who is a TV host, Discovery Channel, and he's kind of engineering the whole thing also. So when we started doing it, it was kind of a big deal. We treated it like somewhere between the TV show and Wayne's World. And and now I think this Tuesday is episode 97 for us. Wow. And it is we don't even think about it. It's like, literally 20 minutes before, all right, let's fire it up and go. And who have we got? We just did Jack Goldfinger and Dove and Marco Zoppi and Rolanda. So it's like, you just grab them on, it's just go and boom. Don't even, not that you should do this, but I don't even do any research. I don't think about questions. It's just like winging it, just talking to my friends.
Just casual chat.
Yeah. And it's proved to be a lot of fun. And by the way, consider this my official pitch to you to go check out on my Facebook page. I think you'll see it right down there. Franz Harari fan page on Facebook. Talking Magic.
Put it in there.
Live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. On Wednesday morning in China and Hong Kong, depending on where you're watching this from. But every Tuesday at 9 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific, Talking Magic with me and John Pullum, and I've had 137 or 38, actually 138 guests so far.
Wow!
And
that's really cool, man. So that's.
Oh, and look at the cool graphic. In fact, I believe we have a short trailer for the show, don't we?
You sent me quite a lot of stuff. You sent me the Franz Harari Pandora's box, and
There we go. Let's enjoy that trailer right now. And we're back.
So that was really cool. Casual chats with all your friends, and if you want to learn more about Franz Harari, the way he thinks, and the kind of friends that he keeps, they're very interesting people, and I suggest you check out his show as well. So
and none of them are done for my car. So this is unique. I'd like to say this is special.
This is a special one.
Yeah, like Jerry's Kids special.
Yeah, like we're how much money have we raised? I don't know. There'll be a ticker up there or something.
Right.
But back to this framework of what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, check out his show. I want to get back to just the whole creativity theme, because you're a creative guy. And my next question, actually, you know, did you ever answer why you made the light bulb thing?
Why I made it? Yeah, I just
yeah.
wanted to do something new.
That's right. That's right. You did.
I just wanted to do something that no one else had done before.
Right.
And then get this. So then after I did it, suddenly, and keeping in mind I was like 17 or 18, 17, I think. Suddenly Owens puts one out, and a bunch of other people put out a similar effect. Not as good as mine, I'd like to think. But that was the first time I realized how, to a degree, unethical the magic community is, and how much thievery and piracy goes on. And actually, I should say that Owens, I think, had one out before me, but there were others that came out after me, and it's weird. It still haunts me to this day, because it is, you know, on one hand we're a community, and on the other hand we are all you know, we're all cannibalizing each other. You know, there's little or no respect for creativity, for the development of new equipment. You talk to like my friend Kevin James, who has been ripped off. You know, oh my God, has Kevin been ripped off so much? And Lysander, how many floating tables have you seen out there?
There's
and
the
I've even gone
umpteenth.
to, you know, I've been in a magic shop a few times, and I'll see a rip-off floating table, and I'll go into my lecture of, dude, what the hell, you know? And the shop owner goes, well, you know, we want to carry Lysanders, but it's just so expensive that, you know, people can't afford it. And that's their rationing, and somehow they think that's okay, and because of that, it's okay to rip off Lysander.
Nope.
So that's where our community is right now, and it's a serious problem. And it's worst in Asia, Southeast Asia, India. That's where it is worst. It's getting better little by little, but you know, it's a massive handicap to our art form, because it stifles people like, you know, Kevin and Lysander and myself from creating new material, because what's the point? You know, it's good for a year or two, and then it gets ripped off, and it's believe me, that right there is a whole hour episode right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've had many conversations with Paul Harris about the same thing.
Right.
Because he said, you know, you have to keep creating, because it's like even after the first week, you see your cover art being stolen and just sold for pennies.
But that's the wrong reason. You shouldn't have to keep creating because your artwork is stolen. That's really messed up. I don't know, you know.
Well, no, I should clarify. That's not the reason why he creates. No, that is not the reason.
But that's what pushes you forward. That's what pushes me forward, because I know
that is not the driving force.
I know that there are 300 people behind me right now working like hell to replace me. And so it is a never-ending race to stay ahead, to surf this wave of competitors. You know, undeserving competitors that haven't done the work themselves, that are just emulating. But, you know, I'm told that imitation is flattery.
The sincerest form of flattery, supposedly.
It's bullshit is what it is. Pardon me, you know, you can bleep all that out, you know.
For the kids watching, this is also for the public as well, so I may have to explain some of the things, like, just to get this out of the way, a zigzag is the classic. I'll show a picture where the magician
there we go.
Cuts half, the sawing is clear, some other things.
We should clarify, for the most part, the magic community is a family. It is made of, I'm going to say 90% amateurs. Of them, probably 20% are weekend warriors that might do birthday parties, church basements, and bar mitzvahs.
Sure.
You know, and
there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, and then the rest of them are just guys that love the art form and support each other. And it's before there was the magic community, there was Dungeons and Dragons and gamers and Trekkies, and we're all the same flavor of nerd. You know, it just depends on what, you know, box we happen to fall into.
Yes.
So there really is a brotherhood, which sounds sexist, doesn't it? A siblinghood in magic. But unfortunately, what happens is people who attain a certain amount of success, suddenly they realize that of show business is far more important than show.
Yeah.
And in order to become economically viable, it leads them to resort to doing bad things. And so most of the messed up stuff is being done by semi-pros and guys near the top. It's not the hobbyists, it's, and the guys that are really successful get it, but anyway, it's another hour show right there.
Another rant for another day, another time, another
put it all to
parking
music.
lot, another parking lot rant.
That's good. That's a good name for the episode. Parking lot rant.
Rants from the parking lot in Marina Del Rey, starring Franz. So
that's it.
Trying to weave this in. Let's see how I can get back to it. You did. We talked about you just couldn't handle singing someone else's song, and you had this driving force to create it, and that's fantastic, and that's why you are who you are today. What did you learn from making it and going through that process? Was there anything like major breakthrough you had after you said, I created this?
Well, firstly, you never, sorry to cut you off. It's a huge, again, these are big questions. You never stop learning. As an artist, you never stop growing. I'm 50, I'm going to be 59 in a couple months, and people go, well, when are you going to retire? Who is your mentor? It's like, well, retire what? Why would you retire doing something you love? What?
Yes.
So I don't see that in my future, but in the spirit of that, as I continue to work and continue to create, I never, ever stop learning. For one thing is I never try to duplicate myself. Whatever I do, I try to do. And this goes back to 26-year friendship with Michael Jackson. Early on, forgive me for dropping names here. Michael said,
this is good for people to know, because
there you go.
Not just magicians are watching this. This is designed to just inspire creativity to everybody.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about me and Michael, but what he said early on, he goes, Franz, whatever you do it different and better than anybody before you. And I've lived with that. I lived with that for, well, he said that to me in 1985. So that's how long I've held that with me. So in an effort to, oh my God, it was, wasn't it? In an effort to keep doing the next thing, never repeating myself, and making sure whatever I do is not only different, but better than the last thing I do.
Yeah.
With that comes a lot of risk. And you learn that risk is part of the game. And if you're not willing to risk, then you're going to get stuck in this rut and do the same thing over and over and over and over. And I can say that everything that I've ever done in my life worth anything, I wasn't totally sure if it was going to work. In the beginning, it was just me spending my money, hoping that it would work. After a while, as your career starts to build, your reputation, your credibility allows other people to come to you and commission things and ask you to create things. So now you're spending their money. So now you're gambling with their money to create something that you hope will work. So I'll say for the last 20 years, I gambling other people's money. I always knew that I would have an out. If I couldn't get the new thing to work, I could always fall back one step and get an old version to work. But I always shot for the new thing. And so far, I should knock on wood. I'm in a car here. That's going to be hard to find.
Vinyl and plastic.
That's right.
Knock on
so
vinyl.
Far, I've not failed. So far, I've always been able to succeed in whatever it was I was looking to do. But it is to the point now, the last project I did, I wanted to make 6 girls appear in the air, sitting on rotating hula hoops. And you might have some video of that, actually. So it's 6 hula hoops in the air that are turning in the air, no boxes, no nothing, and it's an appearance. So I had this idea that I could, again, use the anatomy of the girls themselves to create this, and then also distort, work with light and shadow and use some space relationship distortions, what have you. But I wasn't 100% sure if it would work. but nevertheless, I gambled $260,000 of somebody else's money. So there's a lot of stress there, a lot of crossing your fingers, a lot of sweating it. And look, and I knew if it failed, I could always go back and do it, in a way I've been doing it for years. But you learn that to be an artist means taking risks. Again, otherwise you're just painting my number.
Yeah, there's two, I guess, goals. One person's goal is they found a profession that they can make money at and have fun, and so they'll do whatever it takes as long as it's good enough to make some money, and they're happy with it. And that's okay if that's your thing. But you're more of a visionary, and that's why I'm having you on this program, because I want to inspire others to perhaps explore that mindset of being a visionary, because really anybody can do it. Some people, I think, are more cut out for it than others, but it's a mindset. Like I was talking in episode 1, I had Mario the Maker, and
I freaking love him. He was on my show. Oh my gosh.
So
I only met him on my show. We're to the point now where I've run out of friends to interview, so I'm interviewing new people. And I met Mario. Oh, the guy's just great. I haven't seen him live in 3D, but someday, after COVID, we'll be able to touch him and hug him and all that.
I saw.
By the way, right now, I noticed that if I line my head up just right and the car goes by, it looks like a light is going off on the top of like I'm getting an idea.
That's awesome. Well, keep doing it.
Yeah. I'll let you know when it happens again.
I saw it. I see it. I could.
There's inspiration.
Driving across a bridge of inspiration.
Yeah, that's it.
In Marina Del Rey. So okay, if knowing what you know right now, based upon what we talked about and the way your career has gone, and rubbing shoulders with people like Michael Jackson, what would you wish you would have told yourself earlier on? That would have prevented you from making the mistakes that you...
Easy. Nothing to do with magic, nothing to do with anything industry or business related. If I could talk to myself 30 years ago, I got to enjoy the moment more. I need to stop and smell the roses more, because I've been very fortunate in that, I continue to live a pretty amazing life,
Yes.
And again, there's no way to talk about this without sounding like a douchebag. So I'll just say I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky in that I've had incredible opportunities to work all over the planet with incredible people, and it has, I just got lucky. That's all it is. And until recently, I never appreciated it, because I was always about the next thing. Okay, this is good. Okay, I'm here with Janet Jackson. I'm here with Usher, or wherever it is. That's fine, but go to the next thing. Go forward to the next thing. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't enjoying the moment. I remember in 1992, I was in Indonesia, in Jakarta, Indonesia. And back then I had some celebrity in that market. And they had a marathon. There's probably 2,000 runners and what have you. So at the start of this marathon, they had a military parade with jeeps and armored vehicles and 2,000 runners all wearing my face on a t-shirt. And this military parade was for me, and it happened like at 8:00 in the morning. So I couldn't get any of my staff to wake up and come. So I was there by myself, but at the time, all I thought about was, okay, how can I turn this? How can I use this? Oh, there's my idea.
There it is.
There it is. How can I use this moment to further my career, to further my visibility on television, and as opposed to going, holy crap, there's 3,000 people here and they're doing a parade for me. And I should have taken more pictures. There's an idea.
I see. Whoa, there's like 3.
There's it. So that's really it. And that's just one example of so many other things. I've worked just in incredible places, and all I thought about at the time was, how do I position this to help me get to the next step, as opposed to stopping and saying, oh my gosh, I'm I'm in the Taj Mahal at night by myself, or I'm a big space geek. And so I made the Russian shuttle, the Bahrain, no, Russian shuttle called Bahrain in Bahrain disappear, became friends with the security guards. And so I remember spending time, I basically spent the night in the Russian shuttle. But I did it because I was prepping for a television show, as opposed to thinking, oh my gosh, I'm inside a space shuttle by myself,
Right.
So much stuff like that, the Egyptian pyramids, again, complete access to the pyramids. And all I cared about setting up the shot. I didn't think, grabbing my friends and climbing up inside the thing, which we could have,
Once in a lifetime opportunity, right?
I got 100 stories like that, and all I did was try to parlay those moments into the next thing. And now, as I smile at 60, I go, oh, screw it, I'm just gonna have a good time, So here I am in a parking lot,
having a good time on Making Magic.
That's it.
That's how we roll. I mean, so I think people, just the general concept here that people need to take away from this, whether you're there it is, going on at the opportune moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this light behind me here, bing. The big broad concept is that we need to. I mean, we're almost talking about Buddhism now. We need to enjoy the present moment, because it's called the present for a reason. It's a present. It's given.
Right. But try to explain that to a 20-something, 30-something. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing you could be my son. So it's going to take you a while to figure that. 30. Oh my God, you're a kid. It's going to take another 10 years to even start thinking about this. Right now, you're where I am. All you got to do is figure out how to get the next gig, how to make the next move and position yourself. And what's interesting is with COVID, the whole planet has stopped. The whole industry. I've never been this slow in my entire life, but it's okay because the race has stopped. So all of my competitors, including the 300 people behind me, have all stopped,
Yes.
So it's like, you get to relax. And the relaxing was fine for a couple months, and then that got freaking boring. So now for the last 6 months, I'm going, all right, how do I use this time productively so that when the race does start, I'm further ahead of the game. So in that, I've been doing a lot more design, a lot more, as much as I could, theme park development and illusion design, so that when that gun is shot again and the race continues, I'll be ready with a whole bunch of new material, which I think you have. I think you've got a bunch of that. I think I sent you a video of that. So
new stuff.
Yeah, new stuff.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that, and I'll make sure I splice in the right stuff, which actually segues perfectly into my next question. If you could share with us something, tell us about something you recently made or something you recently designed. Look at you.
Ooh, it looks scary. Ooh.
It looks like we're getting ready for Halloween.
I've become way too comfortable in this. Yes. Something I recently designed. Well, I did a thing in China, which is also on hold because of COVID. It's basically an illusion show using, I shouldn't say using, that's the wrong word, working with beluga whales, dolphins, sea lions, and walruses.
Really?
And I had seen many, many marine mammal shows over the past, because I love animals, and it always felt like the animals were used as props. So in the creation of this show, I wanted the animals to be the stars. So I used illusion principles to create the illusion that the animals are actually communicating with the audience.
Oh, that's so cool.
Animal communication, like almost telepathic communication. And as a magician, you know what I'm talking about when I say I'm using mental effects. Yes. But in this case, instead of saying, I, the magician, I'm going to read your mind, I designed it in such a way that the audience believes that members of the audience are genuinely communicating with the marine mammals.
That is so cool.
Having an interaction with them. So what that meant is I had all these dolphins and whales, and they were all trained. I got to know these animals, every one of them personally. Great animals, especially the sea lions. I freaking love sea lions. But they're all trained to do these series of behaviors that would create these illusions. And then COVID started and everything shut down. All production shut down. I, as an American, cannot go into China
Right.
because of the restrictions.
Sure.
So all of the animals have now forgotten everything that they've learned. They've just become fat and they're just hanging out, just being dolphins.
Like
So
a
we
lot
gotta
of
start
people
everything-
these days, just
Yes,
wasting their time, not making use of it.
Yes, exactly. So that's the latest thing that I'm working on. And there is other stuff also. I have a show running in Sanya, China, that I might have sent you a promo of.
With Rocco, right?
Yeah. So that show opened January of 2020.
I
did
remember
4
this.
shows. Yeah, we got the reviews. Everybody's tells you how great you are, and you've got sunshine coming out of every orifice. And then 4 days later, we were shut down. So everybody goes home. That was an exciting thing, trying to get people out of China during a panic. It was
in record time.
Yeah, it was like evacuating, Saigon. It was like the evacuation of the embassy in Saigon, So we finally got 27 people. We got them out of the country, thinking that we were going to come back anytime. But
Sure.
then time goes on and on and on and on. And finally, about 6-7 months later, company goes, look, we're dying here. We're bleeding money. We've got to reopen. So I was able to grab people that I'd worked with in China and some of my staff that are either in China, Taiwan, or Macau. And I was able to get them to Sanya, southern China. And just working on my video phone, on this phone right here, I was able to redirect the show in a new show, replacing Rocco and Danny and Stacey Cole and Mickey O'Connor and Al Violi. And
nobody can really replace Rocco, though. He's a one of a kind.
That's true. Yeah. So I replaced. I guess I have to use the word replace them with people that were already in the country.
Temporarily.
Yes. Like one of those little wheels when you have a flat and a little tiny baby wheels. It's not really Rocco, but it'll get you home.
The
so
spare.
Yes. So doing all that remotely, trying to direct a show remotely from my phone.
That's crazy.
That was a brain screw. So that's the latest thing that I did.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a favorite illusion or favorite large prop or something or theme park, something that you've designed recently? I know we talked about the whales, but is there like
Yeah, I did a thing called Magic City. I think you've got some video on that. Did I maybe sent you? So Magic City is a themed attraction also in China that is about a third of it got built and then COVID. So that I'm pretty proud. I guess I'm always proud of whatever it is, the latest thing that I did, because that's going to be the newest thing. That's going to have the most, that's going to have the biggest risk factor. So that's what I'm excited about. So right now, Magic City is probably it. I think you got some video.
Magic City, okay. This one has the rendering of it, correct?
Right.
Got it.
I
did take a peek at that. What about, what's the favorite thing that you've designed in the past? Whether it be a theme park or an illusion design.
Many years ago, in 91 to be exact, I figured out how to make a fixed object like a building disappear and do it live on television. And this was before digital, so it's all real, it's a real and actual live effect. And again, I did it without actually knowing it's going to work for the Jerry Lewis telethon. I used that same principle to make the space shuttle disappear and the pyramids and the Taj Mahal and the Leaning Tower of Pisa and all these different icons, because you can't move them. So you need to figure out how to control the environment around it. And it becomes an exercise in Newtonian physics to a large degree. But that method is, I guess, that's really one of the things I'm more proud of, because it opened up a whole new spectrum of possible effects. And I guess with that, I'd say like making a casino disappear or making the Taj Mahal disappear, any of those, because they're all kind of similar. The casino was the first thing I did, so maybe that's what I'm most proud of. Hard to say.
And when you say Newtonian physics, just for the because that might interest our listeners and the public, what was the thought process behind that? Like, how did you get there with?
Well, you need to understand. You need to understand the world that you're dealing with and the actual physical properties of that world. Right. So when you're working outside, you cannot control the light. So you have to figure out, okay, where is the sun going to be at any given time? At what time of year? What happens if a cloud comes along at the right time or the wrong time and puts a shadow where you don't want it? And you really need to understand the physics of weather and of the space that you're dealing with, because you can't control them. So you
No.
need to figure out how to work with them and work around them. So it's really understanding the space, the shape, the light, and the and how that shape is then perceived in a monoscopic form, in a form that's two-dimensional. So video right
Gotcha.
now is monoscopic. So how does that image convert when it becomes two-dimensional? You have to take all that into account.
Got it. So just to clarify and summarize, this requires you specifically thinking ahead and thinking about and accepting what you can't control and saying, okay, here's what I can control. I can control this format, and I can control whatever goes in and out of frame, right?
Right.
And work something within those limits.
And you can control the camera and the audience to a degree. And the big thing is you've got the ability, if it's not live, you've got the ability to keep doing it until you get it right. That's a huge one,
That's very helpful. That's very helpful. Okay. What about, what would you say your biggest, because I mean, when you're creating, there shouldn't be any fails per se, because that's just part of the creative process. Like you said, you're on the seventh version of whatever Mario.
But Elon Musk, every time Elon Musk blows up a rocket, they learn so much more than if the rocket was successful,
Right, or
Edison,
smashing.
Edison, people said that Edison failed 2,000 times at the light bulb, which, by the way, he didn't invent the light bulb, but that's another story. But 2,000 times he failed, and what he said is he learned or discovered 2,000 ways in which a light bulb would not work.
Yes, that is the same outcome is happening, but he's just viewing it in a different way.
Right.
So that's good to keep in mind.
A negative result doesn't mean the experiment failed. It just means you got a negative result.
There you go. That's a great soundbite, actually, right there. So perfect. Over your career, do you have any memorable negative results?
Sure.
Like maybe a funny one, or
Sure. Going back to Michael Jackson, the first real gig I ever got. Firstly, I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, so I thought I'm going to go to New York and go to Broadway and be a singer, and I had the scholarship and all that. And then at the same time, I'm doing magic with the University of Michigan Marching Band and the opera. So I got good at doing magic for very, very large audiences, stadium audiences. So Michael Jackson announces he's going to go out on tour. I managed to get a VHS videotape to his manager, which was a whole nother adventure.
Yeah.
I landed the tour, was way out of my league, which goes back to what I was saying earlier. Everything I've ever done in my life, I've been out of my league.
Always aiming so high, right?
Yeah, you aim high, and if you get lucky, then you don't know what the hell you're doing, but fake it, So now here I am. I'm 20 years old. I'm designing the illusions for the Jackson's Victory Tour.
20 years old, wow.
20 years old. He wanted to float in the air. So I came up with a method that allows him to fly in the air. But again, with my very, very limited experience, I just pulled off of things that I had seen other people do that were similar. If you're a magician, it's an Azrael Levitation.
Got it.
So what this means is Michael would fly up in the air and then disappear. But the nature of the illusion meant that when we rehearsed it in a studio in Los Angeles, everything was fine.
Sure.
When we did it for the first time outside in Arrowhead Stadium, I think it was, in Kansas City, there was all this wind. And suddenly
brutal.
he doesn't go up, but he takes off and he's flying everywhere like a kite. And I'm looking out in the audience and I'm seeing this army of attorneys and management and record company executives, and they're all turning white as they're watching their $1 billion investment is flying through the air. And I thought, that's it. I'm going back to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'm doing birthday parties for the rest of my life. And, well, it was fun. It was briefly a nice little trip. So yeah, and I've got 100 stupid stories like this.
So it was, rather than a smooth ascension, it was kind of like
took off like a kite. Think of a 6-year-old flying a kite. That's what it was.
Ooh. Okay, that's a perfect, clear enough picture. That's brutal, but hey, now you've experienced it, and
There you go.
you learn from that. So, is there anything you've ever created by accident, and it turned out it was amazing, and then you're like, this is a keeper, and you're like, there's no point of working on it anymore. This accident, this is the thing. This is it. Let's just go with it.
It's a good question. I figured out a way to cut people in half using a new method. I was actually working. Okay, better example. I was trying to pass a motorcycle through me. And so in the process, I discovered that without using any equipment whatsoever, I could pass the cycle through me without any boxes or anything. So then I realized, well, wait a second, this is so clean. Why do we even want a motorcycle? So forget about the motorcycle. So now I just started playing with me and body parts and my assistants. And I came up with a way to walk through another human body without any equipment. I basically just take off my jacket and that's it. So it became an illusion based on the physics of the human body, as opposed to motorcycles or anything else.
You're not a maker per se, but you're a highly creative person. Was what inspired? Well, I guess you already answered that. What inspired you to be creative? You didn't want to. We go back to you didn't want to sing other people's songs. You just had this desire.
I want to be a karaoke singer. Yeah.
For something greater. And was there any particular person that inspired you to have that mindset, or was it just an inner drive? Did you draw from any inspiration of other creators?
Steven Spielberg. When I was young, I was a big fan of Jaws. And so I studied Jaws and the making of Jaws. And Spielberg, I think, was 25 when he made Jaws. And his whole way of thinking, it's just such an inspiration. And also you realize if he can do it at 25, then when I was 16, 17 years old, studying Jaws, I thought, well, I'm almost 25. So that was a biggie. And I think most of my inspirations, James Cameron, they haven't been in the magic world, but in other mediums. So I think that's where I think if there's been anything that's really given me that push, it's been watching those guys work and realizing that there's more out there.
Yeah, and they're doing things on a grand scale like you do as well.
Right.
And what's also nice is that they're not another magician. They're totally outside of your field, but you're looking outside and you're drawing from other passions.
I've always felt that not only myself, but anybody out there, if you emulate David Copperfield, the best you will ever be is almost as good as David Copperfield. If you try to copy Chris Angel, the best you're going to get is almost as good as Chris Angel. So why? Why would you want to emulate someone who's already in your industry? It just
that is such a good.
That is a
great point. Magically and create just creatively. So you said on the magic side would be Topaz, who I can pop a picture up.
Right.
But just in general, to inspire your desire to innovate. Because some people, they get inspired by, we're talking about Elon Musk.
This is going to sound ridiculous, but JPL, we just put a remote control robot car on Mars, and the fact that can happen and that nobody cares about it is another subject. But I think that thinking, that system of nonlinear thinking is really inspiring to me. And I think maybe that,
Okay. No, that's a great answer. And do you recommend any resources? Are there any resources that you can, even for people in the public to
Penguin Magic? Go to Penguin Magic, go to Murphy's Magic. It's all there. And check out my Facebook show on the Franz Harari fan page every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, called Talking Magic. And I will see you there.
Okay, great. Anything else? Any other things you'd like to mention, projects to the audience? Actually, where can they find you?
FranzHarari.com and Facebook.
Check them out.
FranzHarari.com. A lot of stuff there.
FranzHarari.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a fantastic, insightful interview with Franz Harari. And you've been watching and listening to Making Magic Podcast. Franz Harari, I'll let you get back on the road, back to a safe, well, you're in a safe location, but wherever you're going.
I got an idea.
And you got another idea, so his next idea is to vanish from this Zoom call. So thanks again, Franz, for your time, and we'll see you in the next episode of Making Magic. Bye-bye.